A little more than a year ago, Austin saw unprecedented protests and a massive call for police reform.
It followed the murders of George Floyd and the controversial police shooting of Michael Ramos here in Austin. And today, the KVUE Defenders are releasing a 3-day series, Reforming the Force, in partnership with the Statesman.
Senior reporter Troy Plohetski is here now with the preview. And Tony, you're diving into multiple issues around policing.
Well, Robin, Yvonne, good morning to you. One of the things that we really wanted to do, and we've heard lots of conversation in the community over the past year with regard to police staffing, response time, crime trends, and crime rates. So, as someone who's covered law enforcement and criminal justice here in Austin for 2 decades, I was finding myself confused about what was actually happening, separating fact from spin and political rhetoric. So we've spent the past several months really diving deeply into these issues. And so tonight, beginning at 6, we're going to be bringing you the results of what we found as part of that. We also, for people who perhaps have moved to Austin in recent years, we went back in time to try to bring some historical perspective and context into the relationship here in Austin that has really developed over the years between police and especially our minority communities here.
Well, so what are some of the takeaways that you're seeing with what you're kind of trying to, all the information that you're gathering?
So, Yvonne, I've got to tell you, this is a complicated, complex issue. There are no easy answers. And so I think people, as we explore this as a community, really have to be willing to look at things in different ways and from all angles. I'll give you an example of that. We've heard a lot over the past year about the number of people leaving the Austin Police Department. And that is certainly true and is of concern, of course, to many people, including police leaders. But it is also true, and really has not been a part of the conversation, that the majority of the department has stayed in their position. And many of them tell me that they have seen the past few months as really a call to action for them in their current jobs. It's also worth noting within that framework of that conversation that when the Austin Police Department was hiring new officers, 2,000 people for the current cadet class applied from across the country. So there is still a large number of people, for example, who still want to be police officers. One other thing that I did find that I want to point out is that even within the reform community, people who have been pushing for change here in Austin over the past year, I found that even among some of them, there's not a real consensus yet on what they really want to see in a modern police force.
Well, certainly a lot of questions there, Tony. One of the things you said you wanted to do from the onset is to provide a platform for community discussion. We all need to talk about it.
That's right. I really wanted to find a way for people to have a civil dialogue about these issues. Obviously, these have been very emotional issues for many people in our community over the past year. But what I wanted to do and what we wanted to do was really provide a platform for further discussion. So to that end, we've scheduled a forum that we are co-hosting between KVUE and the Statesman. It's going to air here on KVUE October 4th. At 6 p.m. And we're going to have ways for people to participate in that discussion. As a matter of fact, if you go to KVUE.com right now, there's a way that you can submit your questions for discussion. By the way, Austin should have a new police chief by then, and we are hoping whoever that person may be will be joining us as part of our ongoing conversation.